Hello. We made it.
Hello.
What are you doing with your face?
Yep. I'm just stretching my nose, man.
Stretching your nose out. Hey, Mianglios, enjoy your dinner. I'm a little jealous.
Oh, enjoy, yes.
I like dinner.
You'll be back later? Yeah, well, when you get back, you better tell us what you ate.
Yeah.
Because
we want to know.
dinner sounds great right now.
Everybody wants to know.
It might only be 10 a.m. breakfast time for me, but dinner sounds great.
I mean, sometimes dinner food is just better, you know? Just sometimes like breakfast food is just better. Like I think the other night I had eggs and toast and bacon when I got home from work because that's what Simon had.
Why not?
You know?
Yeah, I know. Man, I don't think I'll ever turn down like an egg sandwich, man. I mean, like,
oh, it's so good.
It'd be so stinking good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yep. It's like, oh no, it's dinner. I can't have one of those. No, definitely always time to have one of those.
Always time for breakfast food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, have you ever had a Red Robin burger?
Yes, with the egg on it.
With the egg on it? Yeah.
The Royal Red Robin is so good.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Royal Red Robin.
Everybody'd make fun of me for getting that. It's got an egg on it. I'm like, yeah, this is good.
What?
Leave me alone.
No, that's their best burger.
And so then I'd make a point to make it really messy. Like I'd, bite it and the yolk would run all over my face.
Oh yeah.
And all over my plate. And I'd let it just like drip all over the place. And then he'd be like, ew, see, that's why. I was like, whatever, dude. You don't even know.
Yeah, no, runny yolk on I love it. That's the best. And you know who else likes it?
Who else
loves it? Actually, he used to get it all the time when we lived out in Colorado. Jesse. He would drive to Red Robin and get the Royal Red Robin.
That's so good.
Just for that. Yeah.
I was just
thought that
messaging
was
with
great.
Jesse today, actually. It's kind of
were
cool.
ya?
Yeah, we're getting another Nextcloud like login set up.
Oh, interesting. Oh, okay, yeah, got it.
Yes.
Cool.
For Riku, I don't know if you're here, but yes, for Riku.
Riku's been going hard.
Riku is doing a lot of our releases, and it's just amazing. Like I'm so excited to have some help because there's like Because it's crazy times, man.
Mm-hmm.
You guys
Yeah, I didn't get to ask you before the show how things are going, but crazy.
Well, right now
I
your
believe it.
face is like super washed
You know what?
out.
Crazy. It's crazy.
What are you doing with your lights over there? I mean, I know it's the sun and everything, but like
It's the sun, and I'm like, I'm what's the word? Foolishly counting on it to stay the same in Australia, and it usually does.
Really?
But today happens to be a little more cloudy. Most of the time, there's 0 clouds in the sky.
Gotcha. So you're going back and forth between cloudy and sun shining in your face.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know how you
and
deal
I was
with
trying
that
to
right
manage
in front
it.
of right in front of your face with a window. Like I would not be able to do that.
I am able to do it because my monitor is so stinking big that I get absorbed into it.
Ah, I see.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm surrounded by monitors. I've got 4 of
them. How tall are they, though?
I don't know.
They're
like,
probably pretty big.
They're above my head, you know?
Okay.
Yeah. But still, like I was like, if I had a window right on the other side of that, I'd be like very annoyed. So I admire your patience.
Usually I just close that curtain completely, but I keep it open a little bit for Don't Worry Wednesday, and I just forget about it because I'm doing a show. I think because no, otherwise, yeah, it does bother me. If I see it, it bothers me, but it doesn't bother me on Don't Worry Wednesday.
Gotcha. Well, welcome.
Thank you, sweetheart. Wow.
You're welcome.
Oh, thank you, Joe.
Oh, you're welcome.
Joe, are you offended that I've called my wife sweetheart?
Every time.
Okay, good. Just making sure. Oh man.
Welcome to Don't Worry Wednesday. What's that?
I'd never want to offend you, Joe.
Oh, well, it's not your
prerogative.
It's not your job.
Duty. It's not my duty.
I mean, you gotta like be yourself, right? And if I get offended, that's my problem. That's kind of how it rolls, right? Like you kind of get to the point where it's like, you know what, people are gonna do what they do, and my response is my responsibility. Which even if there are triggers involved and all that kind of stuff, like it's still like, you know, hey, people got to live their lives and whatever. So anyway, welcome you guys to Don't Worry Wednesday. Well, for all of you who are here, I see August in the chat. I saw Mianglios, but I think they went to go get some dinner. But yeah, it's great to be here with you guys. We love you. We could use your topics. So if you have something you'd like us to talk about, you can put it in the chat. We have one today queued up and ready to go. But I would like to prolong the time before we do that one, to be quite honest, just because it's me. So if you have a topic, you can go ahead and put it right there in the chat, or feel free. You can go to don'tworrywednesday.com, click the submit a topic button, and submit the topic there. So yeah, if you have anything you'd like us to talk about, go there and do that, or just put it in the chat. We'd love that too. So anyway, we are not professionals.
Yes,
we're not professional therapists or psychologists or attorneys or police officers or anything. We're not professionals in any way, shape, or form to give you.
I've never even
advice.
Caught a catfish in my life, so
really,
definitely not a fisher.
Oh,
not professional one.
Professional fisherman.
Yeah.
I'm not a professional fisherman either.
I'm not a professional fisherman or a fireman.
Fireman, or fisherman, policeman, attorney man.
Yeah.
Football
attorney
player man.
Mm-hmm.
Laundry man. Actually, today I'm laundry man. That's my superpower.
Are you paid?
No.
Well, then you're not a professional.
I guess you're right. I'm not a professional. If I pay myself, does that count? Like if I take money out of my wallet and give it to myself?
Yeah, does that count? I think it counts.
Does that mean I'm a professional? So I could be a professional anything if I just give myself money.
And doesn't it pay to work hard, like at something?
Yeah.
Like the reward is the job done.
Yeah.
It's a payment.
Yep.
We're all professionals, I guess.
That's right.
By that standard.
That's right. To the IRS accounts.
That's true. They'll take that money. Paid myself. Well, did you tax?
Dang
No.
it.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
you give us money then.
Well, you owe
Whoa.
you owe tax money, money you gave yourself.
Yeah, that's just a
That sounds like
lose right there.
poor financial planning right there. Like,
You know that I swear that happens though anyways.
yeah, well,
Stuff
yeah.
like that exists. Like, you try to send yourself money through, like, PayPal, they'll, like, take money from you to send
Yes,
yourself money.
they will. They
It's like, "It's
will.
my money." What?
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, and it's funny because we're learning these things about about business and finance and taxes and all this kind of stuff. As you own companies and you deal with all this stuff, it gets crazy and silly. And
Mhm.
the way you think things aren't necessarily the way they actually are. You know, you think they're a
Yeah.
certain way, but they may not necessarily be that way. And so then you're like, well, what am I doing here? So yeah, we
Yeah.
Oh, well, go take your call, August. And
Oh,
we'll be
yeah.
here. We'll be here for the next couple
Yeah.
hours.
That's right.
Yeah, yeah, it'll be great. So, and yeah, we love having you here.
Even if it takes an hour and a half, we'll still be here.
We will for another 15 minutes.
That's right.
It's gonna be great. So we will
Mhm.
see. I just want to announce this now. We'll see how the Don't Worry Wednesday schedule shapes up for the next few weeks. The next 4 weeks, maybe. Things are getting crazy busy. Baseball season starting for my son. Ryan is moving and going. Wait, you're going? Is this when you're going to Japan? Was I
Yeah.
not supposed to say that?
You're allowed to say it.
Because I didn't want people to like start to try and track you and go where you're going and
I
find
don't think they're gonna find us in like, if someone was trying to track us, I don't think they'll find us in Japan on a whim because we are going, like, everywhere and nowhere.
Oh,
So,
going on
it's not
vacation.
like, if you know you're like, "Oh, I know my friend is going to, like, uh, my friend is going to Arizona.
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna go find him there." It's like, good luck.
Yeah, right.
Right?
Yep. I mean, based on different records, if people were to do kind of, searching for reservations, searching for all that
Yeah,
kind of
that's
stuff,
true.
they might be able to find you if they wanted to put in that amount of effort, which would be
Yeah, people
crazy
be like
amounts of
that.
effort. But
But the reality is if they put in that much effort, they could just show up at your house or
that's
whatever,
true.
so
That's true. And if somebody's
Mhm.
willing to put in that much effort, like they're either really creepy or they deserve to find you because they put in all that work, right?
I don't know if it yeah, sure.
It's easy to
Rewarded.
it's easy to find us like well, here in Michigan anyway,
Mm.
like all you have to do is order something from BSS and you'll have my address.
Mhm. Yeah,
And
that's right.
you can Google Brotherhood cabinets and woodworking and then you will find where I spend most of my time and you'd be able to like drive by and see our
Yep.
building.
And say
And you'll
hello,
see
yeah,
my
yeah.
car and you probably won't see me unless I'm taking the trash out or something, but
Neon says said she's had 2 people show up at her house unexpected.
two people. Oh my gosh.
2 people, yeah.
Wow.
That I'm guessing yeah, they're fans.
Well,
When I read
I'm
out
kind
I
of
really like
jealous. I
it.
don't get that.
Oh, I don't think you oh, not at your house.
Not at your
Oh,
house.
they found you out in public. I see, I see. 'Cause they tried to figure out where you were going and tracked you and then did it.
Uh,
Ah.
Sending things to your house and traveling to the country you reside in. I
Oh,
gotcha.
oh,
Okay.
okay, I see.
So they knew where
Mm,
your house was. They
right.
didn't take the step of
They didn't
actually showing up at your house, which is nice and respectful.
okay. That's much more respectful.
I
Yeah.
appreciate that. They didn't
Still
just show
creepy
up
because
there.
you know they could, but
Yeah. Yep.
respectful.
I don't know. Anybody could find me. It's
Mhm.
pretty easy. I'm easily
Pretty
findable.
easy.
Um,
Easily found. I
so,
so Nyansai, it says Nyansai again, and so the first 2 comments I read from you, my brain told me that you started the sentence with again because I thought it was, again, people be like that. Again, I've had 2 people do that to me. Again, not at my house. I'm like reading
That's
again into
great.
the sentence, and I kind of like it. It's like, I already told you this, but I'm saying it again.
Again to the IRS
For
account.
everything. Yeah. Again to the IRS. Yep.
Perfect. Perfect. Yeah, so actually I'm kind of jealous because you've had people do that to you. I've never had that happen. People don't care enough.
That's not true. You've had people, wait, well, I mean, if you expand the range to like people I'm sure you had, you know what? There's people who sent you stuff in the mail that
Oh,
you had,
sure.
Maybe not fans, but they, like businesses or and people trying to track you down,
politicians
the
every
government.
election year, you
Yeah,
get all kinds of stuff in the
yeah.
mail from them, you give
Mm-hmm.
here's the thing, you donate any money at all
Oh yeah.
to anybody.
So
And then all of a
they'll send you
sudden
quarters for life.
you get mail forever and ever and
Mm-hmm.
ever. And actually it was kind of funny because like I still get stuff. It was so crazy because I sent money. I wanted to support EWTN, Eternal Word Television Network, which
Oh
is like
yeah.
the Catholic station, right? Because I was really getting a lot out of one of their shows. And so I was like, "Hey, I want to help you guys out. I'll send you some money." And so as soon as I sent them money, all of a sudden every Catholic agency you could ever think of is sending me mail.
Oh no.
And so I had to I had to call them and give them like a scathing, like, why are you giving my information to all of these agencies? I sent money to one place, you. And now I have requests for donations from like everybody you can possibly think of, every charity that's out there. I'm like, dude, come on.
Yeah.
That's yeah. So
Yeah.
hey, August, welcome
Yeah,
back.
they have child companies, maybe you're right, yeah.
I don't know if they had
Yeah,
child companies. It's probably just people that they were supporting or whatever, or people that supported them, like people that advertise on their station or whatever. Yeah, and they sell your info,
basically.
like especially like if somebody's doing an ad campaign on their station, then they're probably like, yeah, and you get access to our email database or our mail database, and you can send mailers or whatever, blah 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 blah. And it's like,
Yeah.
man, whatever. So we're not going to
Yeah.
do that at BSS because it's annoying.
No, we're not. If you're a charity company, why are you spending money to get more? I mean, like, I guess I get it, because then you're gonna send them mail, but still, like, you're buying those names from another competitor. I guess that's interesting.
Yeah, it's funny. But you're right, Neon. So they
That's really
take your
unfortunate.
donation and they sell your info. You betcha.
Welcome
And
back, August.
I was kind of bummed about that, but anyway.
Yeah, I'd be bummed too. It's like, hey, come on, be better. Like, you're supposed to be like Catholic and practicing good ethics and stuff, and now you're selling my data. What's going on here?
Yep.
Like, who hooked your business up with that? Because they need to take an ethics class.
Yes. Yes. But whatever. So anyway, I still get stuff.
Yeah. My mom sends people stuff, and then she gets literally, like, in her mailbox. I don't even know how to express this. It's absolutely insane how much mail she gets.
Yeah.
And like a quarter of all of the donation ones, they send you pennies in the mail so that you can't discard the mail.
Right.
You can't throw it out. You have to open it.
Or those little angel medallions or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. And then by the time you get all of those for years, they're like, you have spent more on this than you have spent on helping the people, or more money than I even gave you. You've been reaching out to me for more money than I've ever even given you. So it's like, it's silly. It's crazy.
Yep. It is.
She gets like 30 letters a day. Yes, that's accurate.
But those are the stalkers I have, the ones that ask me for donations.
The IRS stalkers.
Them, yeah, all the people I owe money to, like credit card companies and the banks and whatever. Like, they're happy to send me stuff in the mail. They send me love letters, like, "Hey, pay us money." We'd love if you would pay us money.
Yeah, love letter. We'd love it if you pay us. We'd love it if you give us money.
Yep, that's how it works. But
we wouldn't love you for giving us money. That's no. We would love it if we had
we would
more
love
money.
exactly.
Because we love money. Great.
All right. Well, so again, welcome to Don't Worry Wednesday. If you guys have any topics, you can put it right here in the chat. You can put it on our website, don'tworrywednesday.com.
We have one topic right
we
now.
have one
so
that we're gonna
topic,
do.
I like it.
If you have another one that we can do first, that'd be fine.
Yeah, because this one, well, they didn't have a preference on attending, but right, I can see why you wanted to dodge it.
We can totally do it. It's just maybe a delay, it's just me wanting to.
Maybe it's better to. Maybe it's better to end off on a high note for you. So maybe it'd be good to start with
this. Do it. Let's just do it then, huh?
Yeah.
All right.
All
right.
Yep.
Then I guess we'll do it. So anyway, but yes, we are short on topics. So please, if you have something you'd like us to talk about, send it. Go to don'tworrywednesday.com. And I think I did all the legal disclaimers and blah blah.
Yes,
blah,
you did.
blah.
I interrupted because we were talking about being a professional. So yeah, you did.
Yeah,
sorry about that.
No,
I made it take longer.
You made it take longer, Ryan.
I'm sorry,
that's
guys.
Okay. That's okay, because I was trying to delay the inevitable doing of this topic.
Oh, got it. Yeah, fair enough.
It's gonna be great. All right, so this topic is called relationship hiatus, and for those of you who know me, know why I was probably delaying this one. But yeah, so it's called relationship hiatus. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put it up on the screen so then you guys can read along while I read it out loud. Yes. So as soon as I get my poop in a group, we'll do that. All right. Here we go. Boom. Again, this is called relationship hiatus. It's from Manti. You're welcome for the coffee.
Yeah. Joe, you get him.
Love you too, Neonsai.
Yeah. Love you too. Again. Again, love you.
All right. So here we go. Relationship hiatus from Manti. How to deal with a partner asking for time away. Recently, me and my partner had a discussion and we decided to break up for a while. For context, our relationship is long distance and the lack of physical intimacy was hurting him for a long time. Actually, he has been in a really tough spot mentally, and we agreed on this timeout period so that our relationship isn't hurt by his mental state. We are still on good terms as friends, so it's not the end of the world, but I'm still feeling so bad. I really wish to know how to deal with this kind of grieving period. And that is from Manti. Manti, I am sorry you're dealing with this. It's not easy. I know very well relationship issues.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's a lot I can say. There's a lot I could say, and some of it might be helpful. Some of it might not be. So, but I will say, Manti, I'm very sorry, and I wish I could give you a hug because I know how hard this can be. I know how hard it is to have a relationship that then is broken apart. I know I've been through this whole let's take a break notion. I've been through
Thank you. That's what it's called. Let's take a break.
Let's take a break.
I ended up finding the word hiatus instead. My brain couldn't figure out the word break.
Ah, gotcha. Okay. Hey, Zay, are you Zay or Say? Are you the same person?
It says Say.
It says Say. I don't know.
Hi, Say.
Let's check this picture.
It's nice to see you.
I can't. Let's see. Because that actually looks like a picture.
See.
It does not look like Zay. It is a new person named Say.
Hi, Say.
Hi, Say.
Wow. Man, the sun
Sorry,
today.
we have a person in our community named Zay who goes XAE, and so I was like, I don't know, is this them? Like just with a different name?
Mm.
But
I'm Say. Perfect. Okay.
all
Probably
right.
not who you're thinking. Great,
Hey,
great.
yeah, no, it's
Welcome,
great to
welcome.
see you. Welcome to Don't Worry Wednesday. Um, so yeah, so this is the topic. The relationship hiatus. So but yeah, it's definitely difficult, and probably good be that you're taking a break if there's a mental state issue, because sometimes we can spiral out of control and hurt the people closest to us first and the most, which is generally how that works. And that's one of the things about close relationships like that, that is just kind of a fact of life. When we're that close, we have a tendency to, there's the risk of hurting, being hurt even more deeply or hurting them even more deeply just because of that closeness, right? We have a close family bond, you have a close relationship, romantic relationship, there's a lot of potential for pain in that. And so I understand why you are still feeling bad. Does it say on here how long ago this happened? I don't
No, but
think it
this
did.
was submitted on the 14th of April, so it's been at least 10 days.
Mm-hmm. So I don't know if you're still feeling this way. I remember
Yeah.
I saw a movie one time, and there was a guy, and there wasn't a whole lot of wisdom in this movie, and I don't even remember what movie it was, but I remember this guy talking to this lady, and she had just like broken up with a guy or whatever, and had some kind of romantic jilting, like whatever, and he handed her a shot, and he lifted it up to toast, and he said, sometimes the only thing that can heal you is time. And in a lot of cases, that's true. And so you just have to find a way to pass the time and not have them on your mind, right? Because we can really, really get into emotional quicksand with this, right? It's really
Mhm.
easy. It's really easy to get into an emotional state that then just runs rampant. Emotions are temporary. It doesn't feel like it when we're in the middle of it, but they are. This feeling that you have will pass. And I like that you put in the topic. We decided to break up for a while. I would just consider it a breakup. I don't know if I would say abandon all hope that you'll get back together, because there's always a chance. There's always you can hold on to a little bit of hope there. But I would treat it like it's an actual breakup, because otherwise what's going to happen is you're going to sink into the emotional quicksand, and you might end up finding yourself obsessing over them, over the relationship, over whatever, and then that's not all that healthy. So if you can do things, maybe find a new hobby, find a new activity, go outside, do something, do activities to gain some history. It's not necessarily about how much time passes, but how you can fill the time with things that don't involve them. Does that make sense? So as you're doing things to try and not think about them all the time, even though that's really, really hard, but to try and move on past it, because that's how you can heal this wound. It is grieving, and it's okay to grieve. There are prescriptions even in the Old Testament about grieving for 7 days and all that kind of thing. But Zay, thank you. That's so sweet of you. It's true. I can tell you this stuff from experience, but um, and it was hard learned experience. So but what I'm gonna do is the best thing I can do, and that's turn it over to Ryan, because otherwise I'm gonna get myself and everybody else in trouble, and I'm gonna spout something crazy. So Ryan, it is all yours, my friend. I would love to hear what you have to say.
Yeah, I'll
And
give it my best. You know,
so would the chat. They really want to
yeah,
hear.
the chat can definitely help out as
Yeah.
well if they've got things they want to add or experiences in this ex experiences with this particular experience.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
just want to say, Manti, um, I know you at least a little bit, and you are such a loving, awesome person. And I always wish I had more time to spend with you and that we got more time to spend with each other. Because Mandy, you're really great and you're very kind and loving. And so, first of all, I want to say that um, it's important not to take this onto yourself and think you've done something. And I don't think you are taking it that way, which is good. But I just want to make sure you aren't punishing yourself and saying things are your fault, etc. Because they're not. Um, and where you're at is where you're at. It doesn't have to be anybody's fault. It just is where you're at. And so I think I'd encourage you to, I mean, obviously Joe said a lot of really great stuff. If you feel like it, you can go back and listen to what he said. I kind of agree with that. It could be a healthy thing. It probably is a healthy thing if they're going through mental stuff. I'll tell you, one time when I ended up in a relationship where we took a break, it was just torment. It was just awful. And the release was when I found them spending a lot of time with another guy. And then I was like, I kind of was like, are you like interested in them? You're interested in them, aren't you? And then they were all like, no, I'm not interested in them. But how dare you say that? You've been cheating on me, haven't you? And then I'm like, I'm not cheating on you. Just sitting here like in torment. And they're like, you're cheating on me. Otherwise, you wouldn't bring up the idea that I was cheating on you. I'm like, well, we're taking a break anyways. But I don't, like, obviously that comes with the idea of like not seeing other people. So I'm not cheating anyways. Anyways, that whole thing ended up in her just saying, we're not even ever going to get back together then. And I was like, okay. And I think she ended up going for the other guy. But
cool.
So,
you didn't
anyways,
you didn't need that nonsense anyway.
They didn't end up dating, but yeah, I didn't need that nonsense. Anyways, what ended up happening was I felt way better after that. Just because it was like, okay, we're done then. We're clean. I don't have to sit here and worry like, how are we gonna get back together? Is a relationship okay? Like, what do I do to make things better? Like all of that, like, and like it's just all of that stuff. Just like I was dealing with it for like 2 weeks, and then all of that just went away because the problem was just solved. It was taken off the table, and while maybe it can feel dangerous to just take it off the table yourself. It might be wise to. It might be wise to simply say, okay, that's just off the table. We're not getting back together. If we do, cool, but I'm not gonna fantasize about it. I'm not gonna hope about it. I'm not going to think about that because doing so doesn't change anything.
Right.
And if they're trying to get things together mentally, giving them that space to do so might be the right thing to do. And maybe the best thing for them is to give them that space to do so. At the same time, I understand that someone who's going through something mentally might not be able to very easily get better without help. So I hope that they are seeking help from others around them. Sometimes, here's what I found a lot. Okay, this happened to many people around me in my life, my mom especially, and myself. If you are in a relationship with someone who is broken, there's a strong chance that at some point they will give up trying to fix that brokenness because they are secure and complacent in you. I'll give some examples. When there was a time when there was this person I met, and they were struggling mentally, but they were getting better and they were really trying hard and they were doing really great. Then we started dating and immediately they stopped trying hard anymore to get better.
Uh-huh.
Okay, that's the first example. There
Uh-huh.
was another example where, actually, it kind of applies to this too. There was someone who was in a quest for a couple of things. They wanted to lose weight and they wanted to pursue their medical career, and then ultimately get into America because they were from the Philippines.
Ah, yes.
We started dating, and because they knew that no matter what happened, I would always love them, they gave up pursuing those things because they felt fulfilled or they felt like, there wasn't anything pushing them or just driving them to keep moving forward. Um, because they found comfort,
Mm-hmm.
and that comfort created a comfort zone, and that comfort zone created this box around them that didn't push them to move forward or didn't allow them to move forward. And so what ended up happening is we dated for several years. Um, probably the longest relationship I've ever had, like around 5 years. Anyways, um, eventually I was like, okay, we've gotten to a point where she is this way, and I was like, I don't see myself marrying this person, and I don't think that'd be the right move. And so I broke up with her,
Mm-hmm.
and you know what happened? Immediately, like a week later, she was pursuing things again.
With
She
you?
was looking hmm?
With you or with
Pursuing
another
things
person?
again.
Oh,
No,
things.
pursuing not relationships.
Oh,
She started back up her studies in her medical career. She started back up getting losing weight. She started trying to move forward in going to America
okay.
again, right?
Mm-hmm.
That happened, like everything just turned around. And this has happened in many, many different places. Like my mom is such a hard worker,
Yeah.
and she ended up being married to two different people that took advantage of that.
Mm.
She held three jobs while her husband stayed home from work and stayed home, didn't work, and would go out to drink at bars every night
Mm. With her
while she
money.
worked three jobs with her money.
Yeah.
Oh, and then he'd go and buy boats,
Oh, yeah.
which he couldn't afford with her money, right? That not good,
Right.
terrible, broken. That's broken.
Mm-hmm.
That's broken, right? That's not a loving thing to do. That's not a right thing to do. And it's okay to like spend your spouse's money, but it's not okay in that way, you know. Uh, so um, it was not good, right? So they were together until I mean they were married. This happened to her twice
Mm.
because she's such a hard worker. Because she's such a loving, kind, amazing person.
Mm-hmm.
It leaves her very open to being taken advantage of by others.
Mm.
And Manti, that might be the case for you. I'm not saying that your significant other was at all taking advantage of you. But what I'm saying is your significant other is not allowing themselves to get trapped in that spot
Mm-hmm.
because they're choosing not to take advantage of you.
Mm.
So be happy about that. Be happy that they're choosing not to take advantage of you. Be
Mm-hmm.
happy that they're trying to increase their like their mentality about life.
Mm-hmm.
Because here's the thing, and you know this, if you love someone, right? If you love someone, I'm not even going to say if you love them, let them go and they'll come back. No, that's not what I'm trying to say. If you love someone, you want the best for them.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
And to recognize that you yourself aren't that is pretty important in every relationship because it allows you to keep yourself humble and willing to be proven wrong and willing to grow yourself and willing to help others and push them in the right direction, even if it's not something you want. Because that's what love is. Love is to desire the best for others.
Mm-hmm.
Sacrifice is one of the highest statements of love. Sacrifice.
Right.
One of the highest.
How do you know it's true if you don't have some kind of a sacrifice to make?
Right. Right. Exactly. And sometimes that sacrifice is going to be you.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes that's hard, but it's okay. You move on and be proud of the sacrifice you make. Whether the relationship stays or not, that doesn't really matter. What matters is that you made the sacrifice, because that's what creates a better world. That's what creates love into the world. And whether that person can reciprocate it or not, that is a beautiful thing. And that's what the world needs. More beautiful things like that. And so do not feel at all like you've made a mistake. Don't feel at all like this is I guess try not to feel like you need to win them back or push them to fix their mental state so you can have them back sooner. I'm not accusing you of that, by the way. Just saying, please don't do that. And as for grieving, of course you're going to grieve. You've sacrificed a lot, haven't you? Question is, have you sacrificed so that you could have something? Like a relationship? Or have you truly sacrificed so as to give something up for their betterment? Regardless of whether you get paid on it or not, whether you receive a reward from it or not. Your reward is already yours because you've enacted the sacrifice. You have enacted love because you have loved. You have become a more loving person, and that is exactly the person that you're made to be and you need to be, and the best version of yourself. You in that moment is the best version of yourself, and there's nothing better than that. And that's, in a way, that is the reward, and that's amazing. And I'm not accusing you of not noticing that already. All I'm trying to say is think about those things for a little bit and let the grieving end. Because, you're not necessarily asking, how do I get back together? How do I fix this? Blah, blah, blah. You're asking, what I really wish to know is how to deal with this kind of grieving period, or how to deal with this grieving period. Yeah. No, you said this kind of grieving period. Yeah. And I would say focus on good. Focus on the love. Focus on the fact that it was good. There was beauty there. You have, like, I remember one time, I wasn't exactly broken up with this person, but I had a really strong relationship with this person, and it didn't fall apart, but it ended forever. It wasn't like we had a falling out or anything bad happened, but it was just, okay, I will never see this person again. And we had a very tight, very, very tight relationship for like a year and a half. And like talking to each other every day. And I remember being really, really affected by it. Then there was this song that played in church, and it was called "The Summons," which is one of my favorite songs now. And if you want to look it up, Manti, I would highly encourage it. It's called "The Summons." It's a Catholic hymn, but it's about love. That's what the song is. It's love, and there are some really beautiful notes in there. Singing notes. I mean, notes about love, and you'll probably relate to it. You'll probably find things in there you'll be like, yeah, that happened. That was in there. That was in that relationship. And that means it was good. And that means it's no less good now than the fact that all that happened. Like, the fact that all of this ever happened in the first place. Maybe that was good. And maybe there's some bad in there too. And we can get that sorted out now. But either way, I'd give the song a listen. And a strong read. But I think sometimes you have to just recognize, like, there are people in your life you will love, and you will love them so hard, and you will sacrifice so much. And what you have done for them will change and has changed their life forever, whether they know it or not. And a part of you continues, not a part of you, I guess, a part of what you have done for them continues to shape their life for the rest of their life. And if it was surrounded in good intentions and love, chances are, actually, well, this, I wouldn't even have to say chances are, but chances are that things are better for them now than they would have been if you were never there. And knowing that and being satisfied with that means you're loving correctly. It's hard to be satisfied sometimes with that. But if you can find yourself being satisfied with that, you might give out a final grieving cry and let it all go. Because you know that it was a happy cry. Because it was good. And there was a lot of good and a lot of love. And then just end it there. I mean, that's my best suggestion. Because if you're sitting in this position where you're holding on to something that you have no control over, you are giving yourself you're giving yourself over. You're giving your control over your own life to something that you have no control over. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you give all of this emotion and grieving and so on and this hope or of it coming back together or whatever, over to something you have no control over, you're giving something control over your life. You're becoming a slave to it. And that can be, well, that's incredibly painful. And it's also not helpful. And so, the reality is, for me, I don't like the idea. I don't like it at all. The idea of a temporary breakup. I don't like that. That's wrong. Right. In my opinion, it's either you break up or you stay together. There's no, in marriage, in a healthy marriage and a healthy relationship, there's no, we need to see other people for a time. There's no, we need to just, we just need to not be married for, like a couple of weeks, and then we'll try again maybe and see how it goes. I mean, it's not a method that works because it's not a method that's healthy. It's not a method that promotes healthy, and it's not a method that promotes love. So, it's not a method that helps each other improve life. There's moments where you be like, I need to have alone time, and it's like, I'm gonna go chill in my man cave or whatever for like an hour or a couple of hours or a week. Whatever, or a week. But that's not necessarily anything to do with spending time away from your loved one. It's just, we have those, what do you call it? Needs on occasion. Because, I mean, everyone's different. But I don't feel too often I ever need alone time. And I'm with my wife always. But I have very specifically we have very specifically picked each other as spouses because we do not lose our batteries by being next to each other. Our batteries are charged by each other. We aren't in a position where it's like, okay, I just need to be away from you for a while so that I can think straight or something. You know, we're both pretty quiet people, so we can think. But anyways, regardless of all that, I'm not trying to say that that needs to be every type of relationship ever. All I'm trying to say is, this breakup for a period sort of context doesn't work within a living relationship. It has no room, like a living relationship doesn't have room for that concept.
Right. So like, you need to just call it what it is and just be like, look, okay, we're breaking up.
Yeah, we're breaking up and maybe one day we'll get back together.
Exactly.
Yeah. I think that approach will help ease your mind and help ease their mind and allow them to focus on their mental state rather than trying to uphold a relationship that's a fragment of and a mystery. Because both of you are not saying, no, this is it or not. You're both like, I don't know what's going to happen. And so that's on your mind. It's lingering and it's preventing them probably from thinking about what they need to do to solve their other problems in life, because it's just another piece of stress. So I think, I'm sorry, I took a really long time to say this, but I wanted to give you the best advice I possibly could and the most loving advice I possibly could. And this just comes from my point of view and my experiences. But I would say the best thing you can do is, well, everything is that, of course, that'd be, call it what it is, a broken relationship. Call it, you guys aren't like, you know, don't play games with yourself. Be honest, you know, and just say, okay, well, we're not in a relationship right now. We might never be in a relationship again. Find peace with that. Find peace with the love that you've already, and the sacrifices you've already made that are good, and that they are good. Find peace in that. And I think if you do those two things, you're going to be able to, the grieving will end and you'll find yourself happy about what you have done, happy about the journey you've taken up to this point with you and them. And then allow them to have a little bit of control over their own life, give them their space, and let them figure stuff out. And be happy with that. Because, you know, it's not your life to have, it's theirs. And it's okay to grieve. It's okay to grieve.
That's normal.
Remember that. It's okay to grieve. Sometimes you just got to let that grief come onto you.
And it's normal.
And just and just cry. And that's okay. It's good. Just drive yourself towards the good and the love and allow that to calm you and let the grieving end at some point. And sometimes it takes a while. But yeah. Anyways, I've covered like everything and I'm sorry that took a really long time. But Joe, what do you have to say?
I've already said a bunch.
Yeah, I know, right? you start out really strong, and I'm like, I just kind of rode your wave because like that's what I was thinking. Like,
well, it's funny because like you've talked about this, you know, other people have talked about this. Like, Joe, you have such valuable advice about romantic stuff, and I'm like, yeah, but like it hurts so much to talk about this stuff because it's so deeply personal. You know, like there's so. Yeah. I've had, like, it's crazy. I looked through my past relationships and, you know, like, there's never been one that ended well. Ever. They all ended. And none of them ended well. And all of them had some kind of, like, they did something to me, right? Like, they messed with me. And so, like, here's the thing, though. Like, because you can take all this, you know, information. You can use it however you want, Manti. Like, seriously, Ryan said some of the most loving and caring things about this situation that he possibly could. And I'm hopefully going to be loving and caring as well, but I'm also not going to, it doesn't do you any favors to lie to you. And I know, like, every time, it's so funny. I have people in my life that say that to me. It doesn't do me any favors to lie to you. And that's like them giving themselves the license to be a jerk. You know?
Yeah, like, that's usually, yeah.
Like, I'm not gonna pull any punches. It's like, please pull a punch or two. Like, seriously, like, you don't need to beat the crap out of me. I already feel
The point isn't to
bad.
beat the crap out of me.
You know.
Yeah.
So we've got some stuff in the chat. I really, really applaud you here, and this is something that I needed to hear, and still need to hear, and have done this. And so says in the chat, I'm in this situation, but I am the one who asked for time and space. From my perspective, don't blame yourself. That's what I need to hear and retell myself all the time. Like, don't blame yourself. But I take responsibility for things. That's what I grew up and I was raised, and and then even after I was raised, it's like, okay, here I am, I'm a man, it's my responsibility. I'm going to be seen as the responsible party in the court of law, and that is absolutely true. They don't,
Yeah.
The guy is the person responsible. The guy ends up usually paying out more money. The guy, all that, everything. So, like, if the mantle of responsibility is going to rest on me, I need to take responsibility for this. And so, yes, so I will blame myself every time, even when it's things that aren't my fault, things that are outside of my control, things that I couldn't do. No matter what I would have done, it wouldn't have saved anything. And then there's nothing I can do to get it back. So it's far outside of my circle of influence. Like, I have no influence over this. But I would still blame myself. Even if the decision was 100% on the other side of the table, I would blame myself. So I really appreciate you saying that, that don't blame yourself part. That's really important. And then she goes on to say they are maybe going through something that they need to work on, maybe by themselves as needed. And yep, that's very true. We're all in different places. We can all go through these things. We all have areas where we need to grow. We all have areas and we need to like get better. And sometimes we need to do that by ourselves. And I'm a very, very strong proponent of this, mainly because I look at single Joe and I look at relationship Joe, and I really hate relationship Joe. Like, I hate that guy. And maybe it's just the relationships I've been a part of, but anytime I get that falling for someone feeling, or that like I go into that area of life, I hate who I become. And like, it seems to be fine to the outside world. But for me personally, like, I look at myself and I'm like, I want to punch that guy. But all right. So then August says, comfort can be an easy slide to complacency, so much so that we can forget to keep chasing our dreams. That was kind of going along with what Ryan was talking about that whole idea of when we attach ourselves to someone, sometimes we become dependent. Sometimes we learn to depend on them. Ryan talked about that with his mom's situations and all that, like, she had people that kind of glommed onto her and used her. And using somebody is not loving them.
No, that's called lust.
That's sometimes called lust. Sometimes it's greed. Sometimes there's all kinds of deadly sins that could
there
be
can be all sorts
there.
of
it's not maybe just about using somebody's body, but it.
Well, I don't mean lust necessarily in the narrow sense of, but yeah, that's how people perceive the word lust.
Right. I mean, you can use somebody for finance. You can use
sense.
somebody for peace of mind. You can use somebody as a substitute for growth, like you were dealing with, Ryan. So, but there's a lot of things in there that we can get caught up in. So yes. So anyway, Neon Sai says, I feel like you need to be a very secure person to be in a long distance relationship for a long time. Now, Manti, this was a long distance relationship. I don't know if you guys knew each other in person before the long distance relationship, or if it just started that way and was that way. Most of my relationship before I got married was long distance. we had spent some time for a few years. We were together in the same city, but then my job moved me 3 hours away. And so we had, and this was before there was a whole lot of DMing going on and all that kind of stuff. It was like we were talking on the phone, texting. That was basically what we did for a long time. And yeah, it does put a strain on things. It makes things difficult, but it doesn't make it any less real. Right? Because a lot of people will say, yeah, long distance relationship is not even a real relationship. I'm telling you what, in your heart, it can be just as real.
No, it's
sometimes
real.
more real.
Yeah, it's like, how is that true? Like, you marry somebody, they go off to war. You don't see them for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's not legitimate anymore? Of course it's still legitimate.
Mm-hmm. Right. Neon Sai, you just got to be with someone who makes you feel like the you want to be. I don't know if that's in response to me saying I hate relationship Joe.
Oh, maybe.
But
I like that though. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, thanks. I'll just stick with single Joe for now. But here's the thing. Here's one of the things I can tell you, Manti. This experience can help you learn about yourself.
Mm-hmm.
This experience can teach you about you, and it can teach you where some of your wounds are, some of your unresolved wounds. Maybe you have unresolved wounds from childhood. I had to deal with that. And because sometimes these things send you into an area of like, oh man, there's a real problem here. I need to learn how to fix this. And it might be a really, really deep issue in your heart that may be hidden and maybe you forgot about. Maybe you forgot about the incident that wounded you or the collection of incidents that wounded you. I have something called well, when I had a therapist, my therapist diagnosed me with CPTSD, which is complex post-traumatic stress disorder, right? Which is basically all the same symptoms of post-traumatic stress disorder, all those same, like that high anxiety, those triggering things that can just throw you into a tailspin, she told me, yep, you show all the signs of CPTSD, but CPTSD is a little bit different than PTSD. PTSD comes from an incident, like a life-threatening moment in your life that's traumatic, like a big, huge, situation. Soldiers in wars deal with PTSD from, being in those near-death experiences, watching friends die, stuff like that.
I have someone who has PTSD because of from their childhood. Oh, horrific. Yeah. Horrific.
Well, and that unresolved can really, really be hard to deal with. Like that's not that's not even explaining it right. Like it's more than hard. Like it's ridiculous. You feel absolutely helpless. But anyway, so CPTSD, the difference is that CPTSD is not like a traumatic event, like life-threatening traumatic event, but it's like a constant level of abuse for a long time. Or a constant level of these types of emotional injuries that you sustain over consistently for a long period of time. And that can create a situation where you have these PTSD type responses. But in order to get to the root of that, you have to face the issue from before. And so as you're grieving, now at first, you're going to grieve because the relationship's over, but then you might be left with a real deep wound. And that wound might not be new. That might be an old wound that you then would need to dig into a little bit. There are some different apps that I've found that can be helpful. They cost money. I'm actually using one right now called Better Me. Like this is not an advertisement. They're not a sponsor. This is just something I came across and I found because I dug up a new trauma from way long ago because of some experiences that I had and some triggers. And it was like, wait a second, I have to deal with this. I have to handle it. And I have to actually figure out what it is. There's issues with my attachment style. There's issues from childhood, unresolved childhood stuff, and it all creates this response to romance. Which is why I think I put in my server when I announced it. I was like, we got a romance topic. This ought to be fun. But because I'm just, I don't know, man. It's triggering to me. It's triggering to me. And I don't know what would happen if I ever let myself feel that way again. It'd be really, I don't know. This is me having walls built up, and I'm sorry. This is not the appropriate response, but sometimes we do what we do to protect ourselves, right?
Yeah, well, no, it might be relatable to them though, still.
Yeah,
right?
That's possible.
They might find some little nuggets hanging around inside their own self that they need to work on. They've got their own little PTSDs that they need to, to fish out.
Yep.
Could be.
Yep, it's possible because you can have that stuff revealed to you by these experiences. These experiences that you have can, uncover something about yourself that you then can either face or bury again. Because somewhere along the line it got buried. And then maybe you fell into this relationship and the relationship masked, that until now. Now that you're not in the relationship anymore, or that you're facing this relationship issue, now maybe it has awakened some things that that would be good for you to deal with. And maybe a counselor is the way to go if you find that. There are a couple different apps, like I said. One that I want to try is called Shadow Work. They talks about digging into like those dark spots, those painful dark places, and trying to resolve that. So I don't have any experience with that one yet, though. So I'll come back if I do, But anyway, I don't know, like what you can do. So, all right, I totally sidetracked. I'm going back to the chat. Hero says, my previous relationship experience was one where my partner felt like she was competing with the things I was passionate about for attention. It never sat right with me. You're absolutely right. I dealt with that in a relationship as well, where it was like,
I remember that.
Yeah, you watched it. It's crazy. It was a painful lesson, but an invaluable one. She's the reason I respect my passion a lot more than I ever did before. That's good. You were able to draw some good out of it. Say says, if it's meant to be, it will find its way back to you. Choose peace and give yourself permission to breathe in its absence. I like that. Resist the urge to control the outcome. All will be okay. And that's really true. Say, I appreciate you saying that. Because, stuff's going to turn out. There's going to be a time when this is just a memory. This incident. Now, whether you get back together with them or not, there's going to come a time when that whole situation is a memory. It doesn't sting like it used to.
And it can bring you wisdom, and that you can share another day as well.
Yep, it can. And if there's any reason why people have told me that the stuff I have to say is valuable or wise or whatever, it's because of all of that. It's because of all the experiences I've had, in this type of situation. And but yeah, you can't control the outcome. You're not going to be able to. You can't control the way somebody feels about you. I remember hearing a business guy talk about, how you feel about me is none of my business. Like, so why tell me? You want to tell me you like me or dislike me? That's none of my business. Say it absolutely does work out for all of us, and it's better than we all imagined. That's great. Yeah, so it's going to be fine. It's going to, time is going to pass. You're going to experience some pain. You're going to experience some emotions. Every once in a while, as you're going through this, you might check in with yourself. How am I feeling? How am I doing? What am I feeling right now? Anger? Am I feeling frustration? Am I feeling anxiety? Am I feeling sadness? Am I feel whatever? And just a lot of times when we feel a certain way, we create more pain for ourselves by resisting the emotion. Because I'm angry, but like I shouldn't be angry, right? Like I have no reason to be angry. I had that told to me so many times. Like I would get angry and people would be like, "Well, you don't have any right reason to be angry." And I'm like, but I am angry." Like I,
Yeah.
I'm not lying, I am angry. Well, don't be angry because blah 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 because you shouldn't be angry because it really is all your fault and you should feel sad about it instead of angry. And it's like, what the I heard that a lot. There was all kinds of stuff. But like, so things would always get shifted back on me. And so then I was like, okay, it's not okay to be angry. So then I had this thought, like, I'm going to control myself. I'm going to be like the pinnacle of self-control. And I'm just not going to get angry ever. Now, here's the thing. It didn't stop me from getting angry, but my anger then just got buried deep into my soul and stayed there. It just was buried. And then what happens, in with psychology terms, they would talk about depression being frozen anger. So if you do that long enough, if you suppress your anger and just bury it, and not properly release it or deal with it, it ends up kind of stagnating in there, freezing, and then you end up in severe depression. So if you're feeling angry, it's okay. You can be like, hey, I'm angry right now. And then go do some kind of physical activity. Drumming was a big thing for me. I'm a drummer, and so then that's a very physical instrument to play, especially when you play a whole drum set and you play like really heavy music or fast music or whatever. You find yourself sweating a lot. Or maybe I go do some push-ups, or maybe I just get to work, or maybe you can learn how to channel it into motivation to do whatever it is that you need to do. That's what I've learned to do with my anger. Whereas like, I'm so mad and I will get so mad. Sometimes I will make myself mad so I can go do more work, right? So I can get more stuff done. But it's a little bit weird. You have to disconnect from the thing that makes you angry before the energy is then usable for something else, right? Otherwise, you're focused on the thing that made you angry, and all you want to do is get back at it. You just want to get revenge, or you want to like cause pain and revert or whatever. You want to make them angry back. You have to learn to set that impetus aside.
Impetus.
Yes. The thing that made you angry. You have to learn to set that aside, and then you're left with the energy, and you can focus the energy on something productive, right? But a lot of times doing something physical, like physically exerting yourself, is one of the best forms of releasing anger. If you're sad, you might need to cry. You might need to meditate. You might need to watch something funny. There can be all kinds of things, but here's the thing. These emotions, they're going to come and they're going to go. They come and go like the weather. So the question is, how are you handling those emotions? Because we are all going to feel angry at times. We're all going to feel sad sometimes. We're all going to feel happy sometimes. We're all going to feel, upset. There's all the different kinds of emotions that are out there. We're going to feel those throughout the course of our lives. And it hurts us to resist them. It's way better if we can acknowledge them and then learn how to use them productively or release them or whatever and handle them well, rather than just denying that they exist or trying to just stuff them down deep inside us. Because then you're going to create a lot more pain for yourself. So whatever you're feeling right now, Manti, whatever you're going through, it's okay. And it's normal. When you go through something like this, your emotions are going to roller coaster a little bit. Maybe a lot bit. You're gonna, you're gonna go through dives and curves and ups and downs and crazy. You might just start crying, out of the blue. You might get really angry out of the blue. Something you might see something that just triggers you and sends you into a tailspin for a week. You might be hanging out with some friends that are all into each other and they're lovey-dovey and they like hug and kiss in front of you, and then like it just creates a whole bunch of tension. It's like, don't do that in front of me, right? Like, but so it could be all kinds of things. Here's the thing. It's okay. Don't let anybody tell you your feelings are wrong or invalid, because they come, and they come without our control most of the time. But then what we need to learn is how to control ourselves and how to handle those emotions, how best we can handle the emotions. No, you don't need to include me in your hugs. Thank you, though. Says, I think what Joe is saying about shadow work is super important. Personally, journaling works for me. In a breakup, you tend to be more in touch with emotions, so use that to your advantage. Absolutely. Journaling, I can't say enough about it. I've been journaling now for regularly for almost a decade, probably. I found my earliest journal that I still have started back in 2010. Right? And
wow.
I didn't
was that long ago?
I didn't really journal consistently at that time, probably for another few years, and then I started journaling like every day. Now I've got this whole like library of journals, like and I figured out the best pen. I did a bunch of research into pens, the ones that are the best. I can tell you that, again, we're not sponsored by these people, but the best pen in existence is the Uniball 207 Plus. You can't see it, but that's what it is. The Uniball 207 Plus writes the best, never breaks, has a lot of ink. They're great. Neon Sai, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to offend you. But anyway, I don't know what else to tell you except for let's just be real about it. It's okay. And I would say don't, like I said at the beginning, treat this like it's a breakup. Don't treat it like it's time off. Don't treat it like it's, a temporary thing or whatever. I would just treat it like a breakup. And go do things without them that take your mind off them and build who you are. Maybe reconnect with things that you used to love to do that when you were in the relationship, they took a back seat. Because relationships have a tendency to do that, right? They consume our focus, and so then we lose. We only have so much time and attention, right? So a lot of times when we get into a relationship, some other part of us that we used to really enjoy doing it goes to the wayside because now we're focused on the relationship, and we get wrapped up into that. So then this is the perfect time to reconnect with something that you used to love to do and maybe haven't done in a long time. So I don't know. Those are some thoughts, I guess. Says it's so beneficial also to look back at your journals and see how far you've come. Reading back on the situations you've overcome can be motivated to keep going through your current situation. Absolutely, absolutely, man. There are a lot of times I'll just pick, I'll pick a journal and I'll pick a time frame, and I'll be like, okay, I remember going through, like the summer of 2021 on through the next couple years. It was tumultuous. That was when the divorce was happening, right? That was when leading up to the divorce, and then all of that. And, like it can give you some great insight into what you were going through. It can, even with what you know now, you might be able to process some of that even better now after being through a few things. That was a handful of years ago, and it still hits close to home. It's tough stuff. August says, I continue to struggle too much with journaling. I can't seem to make it a comfortable experience, especially since it reminds me about bad feelings I would have otherwise forgotten quickly. And then Say responds, but maybe if you work through those bad feelings, they will not feel so bad anymore. That's a valid point. And I'm not trying to tell you, August, you need to be a journaler. I'm just telling you it's something that you can do that can help.
Journaler.
Prayer, meditation, these are things that you can do. Neonside, thank you. It's important to make your journal not a journal of sadness and only bad things. That's very true. Good needs to be in there too. Some things that you're grateful for. That's how I start every journal entry. I start my journal entry with the three most important things, the 3 things that'll change your life. And so I would list 3 things that I'm thankful for. I would list 3 things that I'm looking forward to, and then 3 things that I'm going to do today. It's a 3-step process. What are you thankful for? What are you looking forward to? And what are you going to do today to move in that direction of what you're looking forward to? Or what are you going to do today to try and move forward in general? Right? And so all my journal entries since, probably since the year 2018 have that.
That's amazing. Yeah.
Yes. Boy, you guys are so awesome in the chat. Mr. Salmon says, right up there with you, August. I can't ever get myself to actually enjoy writing all of it. It just ends up feeling like a chore. I understand.
Oh, by the way, it's nice to see you, Salmon. That's great.
What's that?
I said it's nice to see you, Mr. Salmon.
Oh, yes, absolutely. So anyway, I don't know. Now I've talked for a long time.
Well, we've both done it.
We both have talked for a really long time. So yeah. These are things that hopefully can help you, Manti. Again, I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry that you're going through this because it's painful. Pain never feels good unless you're a masochist, and I'm a masochist and it doesn't feel good.
No.
Usually pain hurts.
Yeah, that's right.
And it's funny because I'm reading this book. I've got this book about
virtues?
Yeah, the virtues book, Cultivating Virtue. And this month is about patience, which is basically about suffering,
That's funny. I've never. Okay. Yeah.
It's basically about suffering and like how to be patient in the face of it, and how to but Ryan, you really have a lock on this one because like it's almost like you desire suffering.
I don't. I just try to have a healthy viewpoint of it. I think that's masochism is a disordered view of suffering, I think.
Yeah.
And you have the other line where you the opposite, which is like you're
sadist,
afraid of suffering, so you refuse. Oh yeah, well that's a whole nother thing. I don't know if that's opposite.
That's where you want to
either way,
you want to cause people suffering.
Yeah, I guess there's lots of different ways to have a disordered view on suffering. But yeah, if you always run away or you're afraid of it, that's not good to some degree, And then also if you enjoy it and you want it because it gives you some sort of weird mental pleasure, or you like seeing other people suffer, like that's a disordered sort of concept of suffering. So it's like trying to find what's the best ordered version of suffering. I want to try to aim towards that and get closer to that.
Well, because here's the thing. We're all going to suffer from time to time.
That's true.
And we're all going to get to our limit from time to time. But our limits will probably expand over time.
Yeah.
Like you'll be able to handle more. because we grow. You'll be able to take a more honest look at how things actually are without the emotion. You'll be able to rationally think through it. And it's easy for us, Manti, to talk through these things and say these things because we're not in it like you are. Right? I can only speak from having been in it, you know? And, you know, the experiences that I've had to learn and grow through. And it's funny because they find themselves back into me. And I got to re-deal with them. Or maybe I didn't quite get all the way and I need to deal with it some more and work through it more. But it's crazy. Yeah, we're all going to suffer. May as well enjoy it. Well, we are all going to suffer. And I won't say you may as well enjoy it, but
that's really great.
We shouldn't.
That's funny.
The thing to understand with that is, you know, it's to be expected.
Yeah.
So when you find yourself in a moment of suffering, you can be like, oh, yep, here I am again. For the third time today. Or whatever, right? Like Oh, you've got a congratulatory message in the chat there, Ryan.
Aw, thank you. Thank you, Night Sparrow. That was so lovely. Hi, welcome. Nice to see you. Thank you. We're very happy. Thank you.
Say, my favorite quote about suffering: I like to pretend I already died and ask God to send me back to Earth so I can swim in lakes again and see mountains and get my heart broken and love my friends and cry so hard. And I promised I would never forget the miracle of being here.
Ooh. Yeah, that's quite, yeah, that's really nice.
You wanted to go back and get your heart broken. I don't know.
I think all for the, I think they mean all for the sake of the, I think they mean all for the sake of the fact that they got the miracle of even being there in the first place.
I see. Okay. I don't know. I really don't like having my heart broken. I really don't like it. I really don't seek that. You know? And I don't know. Maybe when I'm not dealing with heartbrokenness, maybe I'll just be bored, and that'll be worse.
Yeah, maybe it would be worse.
Point being, every experience is a human experience. That is a miracle of being alive. That's absolutely true. Absolutely true.
I think, you know, my point of view, I mean, we've talked about it a lot before, and we do have another topic, by the way, which is great.
All right.
Cool. But my point of view on suffering is it's a necessary good, not a necessary evil, a necessary good, because it's a required sacrifice that is being sort of put on you, because the reason there is suffering to begin with at all in any scenario ever is that there is something good that exists, and it's being either stripped away or it's attempting to be achieved. And that good has a cost, and you can mentally, emotionally, and physically experience that cost as a human being. That value is something you're going to physically and mentally, spiritually experience. And that's what we call suffering. And so it's not, it is to be expected, right? It's to be expected because it has to be this way. Otherwise, our hearts can never learn value. Our hearts can never learn how good something is. Not because it requires bad to learn how good something is, or evil to learn how good is, though sometimes it feels like it does, sometimes it kind of does, but more so because unless we experience cost, we're generally indifferent. Unless, like, Like, if you have two people and you sell them the same car, but you sell one car for like $2,000 and you sell the other car for $20,000. The person that paid $20,000 is way more excited about their car, takes way better care of their car, and so on.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because they paid a better, stronger price up front, so they feel like it has more value.
Mm-hmm.
That feeling of value is to help guide us in life. We suffer to guide us in life so we can see where is the value. Let's pursue that. So if we can experience suffering in that way and just be like, I'm willing to suffer, because you know that that is part of the equation of value. That is part of the equation of love. That's part of the equation of anything that's good. Now, sometimes we literally only suffer because good is being stripped away.
Mm-hmm.
But again, that's allowing us to see the good and appreciate it, and we should focus on that. We shouldn't sit there and focus on the evil that happened. We should focus on the good that was stripped away and try to take it back if we can. Or find a new route, because sometimes, like Joe was talking about earlier, sometimes like you experience something to dig up a part of you that you didn't know was wrong until now.
Yeah.
Right? Like you're in a relationship, it falls apart, and only in that moment you realize, you know what? There were some things about that relationship and the way I viewed it that were toxic. You know, there were things about that I've been putting away that has been toxic to me in my mental, wellness or my physical wellness. You know, there, like, just being able to experience that pain helps you go, oh, wait, there's something in me that could be better. I should spend a little bit of time fixing that up and go through whatever suffering it takes to get there, because that's why it's there, because it's worth it. That's why it's there, because there's good. And the good is value, and therefore value is worth, and worth means do it. Worth means it's worth it. So that's the way I see suffering, and it really, I think, helps give a framework for life and how to deal with, it's not even dealing with the pain. It's just embracing it for the sake of knowing that goodness exists in the world, and it all points back towards the goodness. Everything just points right back to the core goodness of this world and the love that exists. And if you just are willing to endure the suffering and see it as the sacrifice, the payment for the good, it really, it just allows you to, it's not necessarily that you have to endure so much. It's more so figuring out how you get through it, rather than feeling like you're being punished, right? Or that you're not good enough, or that, have to have these punishing or evil, self-condemning or other condemning sort of perspective. You can just, it all points back to the good. That's what I'm going to set my eyes on, and that's what I'm going to pursue. And it's going to take however long it takes. It's going to take going through this mess, however much pain that might be. That's the good, and that's where I'm going. However much money this is going to cost me, I'll pay for it. You set your eyes on something and you do it, and I think suffering becomes just an ally. Suffering becomes an ally of value, an ally to good, even if it doesn't feel great. That's what I try to. That's what I try to aim for when I experience it.
Right on.
That's my point of view on it.
All right. Wesley, I don't know if you're still with us, but I appreciate
hey.
You are blah, blah, blah. Goodbye. Hey, cool.
Yeah. Thank you. Sorry, I was talking over it.
I wasn't sure about, I wasn't sure where your prophecy came from about the Huntington, West Virginia bomb. But anyway. God bless you.
I don't know anything about it.
Yeah. But yeah, so I agree with you. Ryan hit the nail on the head. He's very good. Got a lot of wisdom, that guy. But anyway, Manti, I hope that some of the stuff we've said makes sense to you, and I hope it can be helpful. It's okay. Whatever you're going to go through, because, I mean, these kinds of things take a toll on us. It's okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be okay. But like I said before, practically the thing to do would probably be as much as you can to build some new history in your life without them. Without thinking about them, things that don't remind you of them, things that you can just do and be on your own. And don't go looking for another romantic situation, the quote unquote rebound situation that doesn't really help you heal. That kind of just prolongs things. And so yeah, I hope some of this was helpful to you. But anyway, so
yes.
Thank you, Manti. Do you want to do this other topic? I mean, we got some
time.
I
think we should.
Yeah. All right. So, yes. All right. I don't know if y'all said this already, but would asking them if this is a breakup or actually just time away to figure themselves out a good idea? Yeah, we kind of addressed that at the beginning, Mianglios, where it was like just treat it like a breakup. Time away. Yeah. Because they were taking time away, is how it was, how it was presented was like they're taking time off.
Yeah. The significant other said that because of a lack of physical intimacy, or something like that. Because of a lack of physical intimacy, they feel like they need to take time away. So I think that's, I think it's better to treat that as a breakup.
Yep.
Because then you can move on and you're not held hostage by something that may or may not be.
Exactly. You're not held
and then
hostage.
You're allowed
you're not
to grow, and they're allowed
quicksand. To grow. You're not getting sucked into a whole bunch of, things that you have no control over. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, let's do this.
If you can just subvert a hostage situation, probably always.
Yeah. Right.
Always sidestep that one.
Right.
Anyway, sorry.
I think you're right. So, all right. Well, Manti, again, thank you so much, and thank you guys in the chat. You guys are so awesome. We're going to move on to this next topic. Again, if you have any topics you'd like us to talk about, go to don'tworrywednesday.com. We are in need of topics, so we would love to have yours. If you have something you'd like to talk with us about in the chat, or whatever, we'd love to hear what you have to say. Random question: did anyone else go see the Miku movie? I did not. So I have nothing to say except I didn't. All right. So this this next topic is how I see myself. And this comes from Anonymous. So I'm going to go ahead and put this up on the screen so we can talk about it. So you guys feel free to read along while I read it out loud. Again, this is called How I See Myself from Anonymous, and it reads like this. Hope you all are having a good stream. I wanted to leave a topic since I won't be able to make it. Lately, it feels like I've been stuck in a losing streak when it comes to how I see myself. There's this version of me I keep envisioning, someone who feels just within reach, but my current abilities and appearance don't align with that image. Throughout the day, I'm hit with these small reminders that I haven't moved any closer, and it honestly aches. I don't really know what steps to take to become that version of myself, and I don't feel like I have the support or guidance I need to get there. I try to tell myself that it's okay not to be there yet, but it's hard not to feel like it's impossible sometimes. Still, I want it so badly. I believe in that version of me. I know it's a better, more fulfilled version of who I can be. And while I've grown internally in meaningful ways, the physical side still feels so far behind. And that is from Anonymous. So thank you, Anonymous, for that topic. So it sounds to me like there's so who you are and your abilities and appearance are not where you want to be yet, and so you see yourself as less than what you could be. Now, to some degree, this is healthy because for us to see our potential and try and move toward it, that can be motivating, that can cause us to grow. There's a lot of good that can come from, realizing that we are not at our potential yet. But it can also lend itself to despair, especially if we start to lose hope that we'll ever be there or whatever, right? So, let's see. But Anonymous says lately they feel like they're in a losing streak when it comes to how they see themselves. So, without specifics, it's tough to give specific advice or specific information. So we will do the best we can, and we'll probably end up being as generalized as possible. But there are principles at play here that can help you move forward, that can help you get better. Yes, I agree. It's tough. It's tough to be in that situation, but I'm going to turn it over to Ryan and see what he has to say because I'm sure it'll be good. Ryan is a guy who I've watched grow for many years. I think I met you in 2006 or 2007, something
Sounds
like
right.
that. So we've known each other almost 20 years, my friend.
Wow. Incredible.
It's crazy.
Doing good.
Yep.
That's a long friendship, man.
And We're
doing good. High five.
High five. Bang. I've watched him grow. I've watched him struggle. I've watched him go through all kinds of fun stuff. But the whole time he's been getting better and better and becoming more and more of the man you see today. So
thank you.
I'm going to turn it over to him, and he's going to expound his wisdom all over you. It's going to be great.
Blah, blah, blah. Okay, so did you get that? Yeah. That was me. Okay. Okay. So here's what I have to say. I'm gonna start with a really interesting remark, okay? Humans are stinking incredible creatures. I don't know if we were meant to invent the mirror, but we did.
Okay.
What you see in the mirror is not what you are. And that's hard to swallow. Here's the thing. We are creatures designed innately without a mirror. We see what we see, but we don't get to see ourselves.
So we look in the water.
Until you look into a mirror or a reflection.
Mm-hmm.
But anyone who looks into the water knows, wow, that's kind of hard to see myself, but I can kind of make it out and I can see it. Yeah, I can see I got like some muck on my face, I guess. It's like, then we invented mirrors and it's like, wow, I see myself clearly. It's like, no, you don't. No, first of all, you look in the mirror different than you look in real life. If I stand with my wife in the mirror and we look at each other in the mirror, it's like I'm not looking at the person. I'm looking at a mirror, I'm looking at a reflection, and I'm looking at a flawed version.
Well, they're all backwards.
My wife does not look like my wife in the mirror. Like, I could recognize as my wife. Obviously, I'm not, I'm not dim. But at the same time, it's like, you look really different in the mirror. Like, significantly. And I look different in the mirror. But I wouldn't know because I don't get to see myself without it.
Mm.
My point isn't that you're... Okay. Also, you look to yourself different than you look to anybody else. And everybody else has a different view of you. And a different view of your image. Your physical body. So, I know it's a really weird point to start with, but I hope you see where I'm trying to go with this. What you see is not what you are. Who you see is not who you are. In life, it's incredible to be a human. Because we are born not knowing who we are, and we live a life of discovery, discovering who we are. And we also get to shape who that is along the way as well. You didn't get to pick whether you liked pepperoni on your pizza or not. You just do or you don't. But you can grow to like it if you really put yourself into it. You didn't get to necessarily pick whether you liked baseball, basketball, or none of it. You just really do or you don't. But also, part of that is shaped by your experiences when you're young. If your family made a big deal about baseball or basketball, you're more likely to enjoy it. If you were pushed towards those sports against your will, you might not like it.
Right.
If, there's all sorts of different little shaping factors, but there's also this other shaping factor that you're trying to partake in, which is, to some degree, I can choose whether I like it or not, because I can be open to liking it, and I can research on the reasons I should like it. And maybe there's other people in my life who like it, and it would be I'd have a better time with them if I was able to like this thing. So maybe I could like it. Maybe I'll just apply myself. And I find that if you apply yourself, you tend to enjoy everything a little bit more. If you're playing a video game and you're just not really applying yourself to it, you're not trying hard. You're just kind of like, you don't want to, like, you got this attitude, like you don't really want to be playing it, or you're just kind of bored and just slouch in your chair, click. You're not going to get into it. You're not going to feel happy. You're not going to feel joy. You're not going to feel entertained. But if you apply yourself, like really go in, you're like, oh, but okay, hold on. How is this calculation working in behind the scenes? How am I gonna, what's like the most fast way to, like, do I need a different mouse to click on this? Could I, like, let me think about, like, just statistics here. Like, let's really apply myself to this video game, and get into it. Like, so much so that I'm willing to buy a different mouse for it, or I'm willing to change the way I think about, the world I'm living in. Go back and watch my replays of how I lost and figure out, like, how can I train myself to do better so that whenever the situation comes up again, I really handle it well, right? If you get into it like that, it's enjoyable, right? It's fun. It's intense, right? What was my point of that? You have the ability to shape who you are. But at the same time, you're also discovering who you are. And at the same time, you have a misunderstanding of who you are. Looking at yourself through your own eyes is not going to be the same as looking at yourself through someone else's eyes. Other people see you differently. You see your friends differently than they see themselves.
That's very
true. You know that to be true.
Very true.
So the question is, who's right?
Nobody.
I would say the only one that's right is God.
Well, yeah, okay.
And beyond that, nobody.
Right.
So when you see yourself,
right. I just didn't include God in the equation.
Yeah. I knew that. I knew. Yeah. No. Don't trust yourself to see who you are. Just do your best to be who you want to be. Pretend to be that person, if you will, until you are. Practice being that person until you are. It's not easy. And you know what? I mess up all the time too. I do things that I regret. I do things I'm like, nah, that's not the best version of me. I want to go back and change that. I want to go back and change what I did. Because that was a terrible exposition. That was a terrible example of myself. I don't want to be that person. I want to redo that. There are things in my skill levels that I want to improve that aren't improving as fast as I want. There are things in my mental faculties right now, especially because of the whatever I'm going through right now. But nothing
marriage.
No, it's physical
I'm kidding. I'm
sickness.
kidding. I'm kidding.
Yeah, it's allergies and fungus and poisons and who knows what. Anyways, there are things about my appearance. If I look in the mirror, I'd be like, you know, it'd be better if I had like this instead of that and whatever not. There are things that I'm viewing totally wrong. And there are things that I fail at. You know what the answer to all of that is? Humility. It's realizing who I am, where I am, what I can do, what I can't do, and accepting that. And some of that is accepting I don't know. I don't know. I don't know everything about me.
Hmm.
I don't know necessarily how others see me. I don't really even know necessarily how I see myself perfectly. I can only see glimpses of it when I treat myself nicely or treat myself poorly. But I believe in a God who loves me. I believe in a God who created me out of love. I believe in a God who loved the idea of me so much it simply became real. Because that's how powerful his love was. And I know that in my humility, I can't see myself that way. But in my humility, I know that that's regardless of what I can experience, that's the reality. And so I should treat myself kindly. You know, there's this, and I'm sorry, all I can do is relate it back to God, but there's this part in the Bible where Jesus is speaking, and I think this reading was relatively recent in the church, but anyways, they have a calendar where they go through all the readings, or most of them, anyways. And it simply says, God reigns, and essentially God puts the sun over everyone's head and the rain over everybody's, whatever, crops and so on, regardless of whether they've been evil or good, regardless of their rank or status or uh, financials or whatever. God reigns where he reigns. And that's not exactly how it goes, but you get the idea. It's because he doesn't love me less when I'm not holding myself up to my own standards or even to his standards. And if he doesn't love me less when I don't live up to his standards, then I shouldn't love myself less just because I don't live up to my own standards or his own standards. Mm-hmm. I should try my best to see myself and through the lens that could be the only correct lens, because if everyone has a different opinion of everyone, then who's right? It's basically nobody. No one can be right. Mm-hmm. So if change my gaze over to God and say, okay, he's the one that created me. What does he have to say about it? Oh, he loves me. Oh, great. Okay, what does that mean? That means he wants the best for me. Okay, so I should take that as the foundation of how I should see myself, and I should love me. How do I do that? I apply myself to get better where I can and allow myself some forgiveness, or essentially infinite forgiveness, because that's part of love. Now, obviously, not to the point where it's like, well, I can just do evil and I'll be fine with it, because that's not love. Love is wanting the best for someone, which means shaping them up to become the best version of themselves, which is what you're trying to do. Mm-hmm. And I love that. You see a version of yourself that's good and you want to be that. You know how good that is? That's so good. You know how many people need that and they don't have that? They don't see themselves they don't see a better version of themselves even possible. So they don't even try. They don't even know it exists. You are in such a beautiful place. You're in such a fortunate position. Lift yourself up and do that alone. Lift yourself up and do that alone. Life will humble you. Life will humiliate you.
That's very true.
Life will show you where you need to change. Life will bring you down. Others will tell you that you're wrong. Others will show you when you're wrong. But for you, focus on lifting yourself up, because life is going to show you, like, you're going to be humbled. You're going to find yourself not living up to your expectations.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to find yourself not being as strong as you want to be, as fit as you want to be, as agile, as smart, as capable as you want to be. Well, how can you ask more of yourself than God does? I mean, if you were physically incapable of something, you're wanting the impossible, which is what? For you to be perfect all the time.
That's what God wants, though.
God wants you to be perfect, but he doesn't judge you by that standard. Because he knows you're human. Because he knows you're imperfect. Because he knows that in the end, you can become perfect. But now, you need forgiveness.
Mm-hmm.
And you need to forgive yourself. Of course, God does judge you by that standard, but only because he can't enter heaven without having perfect heart, whatever.
Yeah.
My point is,
I was like,
my point isn't
we're
necessarily...
gonna have a little bit of an argument, but it's gonna get really religious and weird.
Yeah. My point isn't necessarily about that, but my point is, if you want to if you're talking about how you see yourself, then you need to see yourself through the lens of the only one that can be right, which is God. And maybe you don't believe in God, then I don't know how, you certainly can't trust yourself with how you see yourself. Who are you going to trust? Are you going to trust your best friend? They can be wrong, too. So the best thing you can do is just figure out what's the best way to see myself. For me, that's my God. The best way to see myself, the best way to actually truly examine myself and hold myself accountable and see, okay, like Joe was saying, they can be very healthy to have this, what you're experiencing. Guilt is really important and very healthy to have. But you can use guilt to destroy yourself, or you can use guilt to build yourself up. How do you see yourself is really important in that. Because if you see yourself as guilty, but you say, well, I'm just a loser, blah, 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 well, that's not utilizing your guilt as a tool to help you. You're just beating yourself up more.
Mm-hmm.
But if you can take that guilt and you can see yourself with the eyes of, okay, I'm someone who can get better at this. I'm someone who's made to be better than this. I was made to be perfect. I'm just not. Yet. And I'll tell you, whether you achieve perfection here on earth or not, pursuing it is the right thing to do because it gets you closer. Part of the problem is the virtues are infinite. The things you want to be are infinite goods. You can always get better. Always. There's more, like, you think I have arrived, I have perfect patience. And then, like, something out of nowhere comes and you're like, wait a minute. I just learned something about patience I did not know, and I had been messing that up for, years. And you're like, wow, I gotta study this patience thing more. Because I had the wrong idea about it. I thought I had it, but I'm so far off guard. And that will happen to you endlessly throughout your life. Why? Because they're infinite. Because there's infinite good to be had. So you can constantly get more good. So that's great. That's good news. Right now, what you're experiencing is good because you're noticing the things that you can get better at. You're noticing that you're not quite there, and you're noticing that, and you're striving towards it, and that's great. So I think that's amazing. There are certain things you can't change. Certain things have no business changing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the length of your arms. Yeah, you could technically change it. And you're like, I don't like my arm length. I wish it was longer so I could reach more stuff. It's like, okay, you can get some tools, I guess, but like reaching tools. God doesn't need you to change your arm length to be satisfied with who you are. And neither do you.
Mm-hmm.
You see my point? That's kind of what I'm trying to say. There are certain things about you you don't need to change to get God's approval on.
Mm-hmm.
There are certain parts of you that you don't need to change to get your friends' approval on. There are certain parts of you that you don't need to change to get your approval on. But right now you're putting that like, oh, no, this is how I see myself, so I have to be that. Well, maybe how you see yourself isn't perfect yet. Because the reality is your vision of who you could be at your best in 3 years from now will be far better than the version you see right now in front of you. Because as long as you keep striving and you keep getting better, your image, like this is my best version of myself that I want to be, will change over time because you'll be learning and you'll be grasping more concepts and you'll be getting more virtuous and you'll be like, oh my gosh, the person I wanted to be like 3 years ago, oh, I'm so glad I didn't become that person. That's inherently flawed in this area.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that was so selfish or that was so greedy or whatever, right? And you'll be thankful that you aren't there and that you ended up taking an even better path. And that who you see yourself as now is better than that, and who you see yourself as becoming is better than that. So I guess all of that is to aim to comfort you in saying that you're on the right track. You're doing great stuff. And if you don't see yourself as who you are, that's like if you don't see yourself if you're really struggling, okay, to become who you want to be, that's good. There might be parts of it that aren't good. And so you might have to step back and examine that. But some of that only comes as you grow and you figure stuff out and you realize like, oh, wow, I knew nothing. I thought I knew it all. I thought I knew like the best version of myself. I was not even close. And that will happen. That will definitely happen. So, especially if you pursue these virtues, because they get infinitely deep. And it's amazing because it's infinite goodness at your journey and at your disposal, at your fingertips. And it's incredible. Such a good thing. So awesome. So I guess I'm encouraging you to just keep going. And if you're horrible to yourself, if you're not kind to yourself because you look at yourself and you're like, well, I'm not where I'm supposed to be. I'm not good enough yet. You need a different way of looking at yourself because that's not the right way, you know? It's okay to say like, I'm not good enough at this task yet. I need to get better. Sure. But it's not okay to beat yourself up because you're not as good as you want to be. Beating yourself up is not loving. Admitting the truth is loving, but beating yourself up for the sake of diminishing yourself or just out of a habit or whatever, that's not loving. So I hope that's encouraging and gives you some direction to go in. Yeah, my best advice is to aim for the ultimate good and to love and recognize that some of the things you think to yourself is not love. And some of the things you think to yourself is where you need to improve. And so maybe right now the reason you're experiencing this is because there's a holdup in the way that there's a strong difference between how you see yourself and the right way of seeing yourself. There's a strong disconnect between your understanding of self and God's understanding of self. And that disconnect is causing this dissonance, which is leading to pain inside. And right now, that pain is signaling we're in dissonance with reality. let's fix that and get aligned with reality, because then that problem will be like, you'll extend that virtue of how to see the world, which is partially humility, but also all of them. So you'll extend that, you'll extend some virtues, and that will go up a step of the ladder. And then that will allow room for all the other parts of you to grow a little bit more. And then you'll hit that barrier again, and you're like, but I'm not good at this, I'm not blah, blah, blah. And you're like, oh, once again, I might be seeing myself differently than how I should, what the reality of self is. Again, you work on that, you step up that ladder, and all the other virtues beneath you kind of like open up and appear, and you're like, oh, whoa, I need to fix a lot of other stuff. I didn't see that before. And you go up another step. And that's your way to victory. And I think that's the only way that you're ever going to get to the end of this and feel like, I am satisfied with being me. If, like, that line is such, like, that is a beautiful line. I am satisfied with being me. Because God put you there. And He loved you. I mean, how great to hear those words for your Creator. How great. I mean, just imagine you create little dolls and they have little lives. And they say, I am so satisfied to be me. You'd be like, I did a good job. I did it. That would be like, I made a doll and they're happy to be who they are. That's so great. They're not happy with their sins. They're not happy with the things that have gone wrong in their life. Sure, that's fine. But they're happy with their essence, their existence, their isness, their life, their self. They're happy with that. I mean, that's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. And I want that for you. I want that for you. I want you to be able to say that. And if you can't say that right now, just keep climbing the ladders and work towards saying that. Because saying that takes a whole monster in your head out of the equation and makes you free to pursue the goodness you want to pursue. Legitimately, really, I promise you that. So many people have had that experience. You remove that whole monster out of your head. They'll creep back in from time to time, and then you'll have to tell them to shut up. But generally, out of the equation, solved, you're happy and satisfied with self, with existence, with where you are, with who you are, how you were made, your lot in life. And you're ready to go. You're ready for that adventure, your lot in life. And you're going to make it good. You're going to apply yourself, and you're going to get so good at being you. People will just be astounded and inspired to do the same. Because you have your lot in life. It is what it is. But, like, you don't have to hate that. You know, it's great. Anyways, I've spoken enough. I'm going to get over to you, Joe.
I don't know what to say. I am not where you say you should be.
It's all we're all neither am I all the time. Okay. You know, I get there sometimes.
Yeah.
You know?
So
I aim for that, and that helps. Yeah.
Cool. We are past our time. I'm gonna keep this really short.
Oh.
Or at least I'm gonna try to. But thank you, Anonymous, for the topic. And I love what Ryan was talking about. There's so much important stuff in what he was saying, and a lot of this has to do with your perspective on you, on who you are, and where you are, and how to be okay with where you're at. You know, there's so much there that you can build off of. just because when you can learn to foundationally be okay with who you are, regardless of all these appearances and circumstances and successes and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
When you can learn that, it sounds like it would be very, very fulfilling. So yes, I wanted to shout out to say again,
There's a lot of really
say
good stuff in the
you
chat.
are very wise. You're awesome. Talking about the media, I think also we are such complex things. The media has pushed us to think our appearance is the most important, but it's not. It's how you make people feel. It's how you carry yourself. It's your soul. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Yep. So the media has a lot to do with that, and it can. So
yeah, I just want to say something real quick, short. Hero said, in a lot of ways, other people are better mirrors to who you really are than what's in the mirror because of your own biases and stuff. And that's true. Like I'll look at myself in the mirror and be like, oh, my hair's messed up, blah 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 blah. But if I just ask my wife, like, hey, how do I look? And she says, you look great. My hair could be messed up, but I don't know, and it doesn't matter because if she sees me that way, probably other people are seeing me that way too. And who really cares? But yeah.
Yeah, good point. So yeah, and I also like one thing that helped me is that I look at my parents, my grandparents. I'm a product of generations of people who saw beauty and love in each other. That's true. We don't come into existence without a loving act most of the time, right? And so it's kind of beautiful how that whole thing works itself out. But here's a perspective I want to offer you, Anonymous, at the end of all this. So Ryan, go back and listen to what Ryan said multiple times. If there are ways that you can learn to be satisfied with who you are right where you are right now, that can be very helpful. It can be it can give you some peace. But also, if we want to improve, we have to learn how to not be satisfied. So, like at that same time,
that's right. That's right.
If you want to grow, it's okay to be dissatisfied with where you are at. To be satisfied with who you are and your potential, that's great, right? To be satisfied with your results, as soon as you get there, you probably aren't pushing forward, right?
It's true.
And I think Nyansai said something. Yeah, if you ever feel like you've reached your peak self, that only means you are stagnating. So true, because really we're only moving forward or backward in life. There's no standing still. When we get to the point where we're stagnating, it means we're going backwards. Right?
Stagnant water gets poisoned.
We are going backwards in that moment. So if you ever reach one of these goals that you're talking about and fail to set another one, then you're going to end up going backwards. It's true. So I want to help you understand something. The results you're looking for generally come about as a result of a lifestyle.
Yeah.
So
right.
without being specific, because you're pretty vague in your topic, and that's totally fine. I'm not trying to dig into specific points of what you're doing, but like there was stuff about physical appearance, there was stuff about mentality. I think being the current version of yourself, your abilities and appearance, right? So here's the thing: whatever your abilities and appearance are right now, it's okay to be a little dissatisfied so you can move forward. Okay? Here's the thing, though. If there are abilities and appearances that you'd like to have, there's probably a way to get there. Okay? Within reason. Like Ryan was talking about. You can't just make your arms longer. You can't just, there are things about you that we cannot change. Some people are born with no arms, no legs. They have to deal with that. Right? There's things that we just are, we're born a certain way, but we can make the best of it. We can make the best of whatever that is, right? Whatever it is we're handed. But I want to help you fall in love with the journey and to fall in love with the lifestyle that creates what it is you're after. Because one of the things I learned about physical fitness is, to have a physically fit looking body, it doesn't come from willpower. It comes from a lifestyle. Now, the lifestyle can have some willpower in it too, but it comes from a lifestyle. That's why I don't like these ideas of oh, hey, get your beach bod, like go work out now so you can lose a few pounds and get in good shape. But then what? Because if you stop, then you go backwards. I'm living proof.
Mm.
I've gone back and forth in physical fitness multiple times. And I know how to get to where I want to go. But here's the thing. It's about the lifestyle. If you can learn to focus on the lifestyle that brings you the results and find joy in the journey toward those results, then you can be a lot more fulfilled on your way because you know you're on your way. And that's one of the best feelings you can get. One of the worst feelings you can get is to arrive and not have anything else set out for you. I mean, it feels great at first. You arrive, you get there, you're just like, oh yeah, this is cool. Great accomplishment. Sweet. But then if I'm not turning around and chasing after something else or something bigger, something greater, more growth, then I start going backwards. So we got to learn to continually feed that animal within us of, I want to get better. I want to have things be better. And to understand, it's not about the destination. The destination is great. The accomplishment is great. But more importantly is the journey toward that. Because that's where you're going to spend more time anyway. Is in the journey, in the process. I do that in every aspect of my life now. I try to anyway. As simple as we own a cabinet company and we're building a kitchen right now. And so we finished a whole bunch of doors that I put most of them together. I assembled most of them. I had a hand in starting from raw boards of lumber, right? And then taking them, planing them, sanding them down, shaping them, cutting them to length, ripping them, everything. Every part of building these I've had a hand in. And we were assembling them, and they were finally assembled and ready for final sanding and finish and all this kind of stuff. And they look awesome. But I remember the journey. Yeah. So I mean, the accomplishment of having those doors finished is great, right? But more importantly was every step along the way, I was doing something. I was building. I was creating. And that, in and of itself, was the fulfilling part. The fulfilling part isn't the achievement. I mean, it's great. It feels good. But the more fulfilling part is the work you're doing on the way. And if you can fall in love with that lifestyle of working toward a better you and look at the result you want once in a while, maybe, just to see, just to stay on track. Am I still on track for this? Yeah. But then try not to be demoralized because you haven't arrived yet. Instead, try and flip that around and say, I'm happy because I'm on the journey. I'm excited because I'm working toward it. I'm moving toward this. There are goals that I've had for decades that I have not hit yet, but they're still there. I haven't stopped. It's just a matter of finding the path. My path toward those goals has changed a few times because paths turn out to not be right, Sometimes you're on a path and it turns out like that, that was the wrong path. That's not going to get me there anymore, right? Sometimes it changes and it's not your fault. Sometimes it's totally outside of your control. But your path changes. That's okay. You find a new path. So who you want to be, what those attributes you want to have, what you can do is you can find people who are there and learn from them. There's information. We live in the information age. You can get information about anything. You could probably ask like ChatGPT or whatever how to get a certain level of something, and it would spit out a whole bunch of stuff on things you could do to get there. You know,
some of it might not be worth following, but some of it might be.
That's true. That's true. So you gotta check your sources sometimes.
Yeah, just a little reminder.
And
AI is not a substitute for professional advice.
That's very true. AI is not. It can give you an idea, but it can give you a place to be. But you have to check your sources, right?
Yeah. No, it's really helpful. So
I'll tell you this: I do never, ever, ever want to take marriage advice from some people who have always had a happy marriage. Ever.
Fair enough.
If your marriage has always been happy, clappy, and you haven't had any conflict, I don't want to know. I don't want to get advice from you.
Because I haven't faced trials.
Because Fair then enough. What you do, you got to go through some stuff in order to be able to do stuff. I don't want a therapist that their life has been like great the whole time. I want somebody who's been through some stuff, right? Like if you want to be physically fit, you don't want to get advice from the person who's not fit. But they'll line up to tell you their advice. I'll tell you what.
Well, I guess in a way, it's kind of like
unless you want to do the
you
opposite.
have someone who's skinny always, no matter what they eat, they're skinny, like myself. Don't go to them to how to lose weight because they're skinny. It's like, how do I get results of being skinny? And they're like, I don't know. I just eat whatever. I don't even exercise, whatever. I'm just skinny, dude. Try it.
Yeah.
And then they're like, that's not helpful.
Right. Exactly.
Because I'm not that. Yeah.
It was like the financial advice I got from somebody a long time ago. I got myself in a substantial amount of debt, and like they were like, well, and the advice they had for me was, you don't do that. I'm like, well, thank you. I already did it. I'm here now. How do I get out? Well, I don't know. We just never did that. I'm like, okay, so like I cannot learn anything from you. I can't learn how to get out of this situation from you. And the onside, why? You want your marriage to be a train wreck? No. But a marriage that hasn't had any conflict, dude, I know marriages have had conflict, and I expect a marriage to have conflict. And if I'm in a marriage that's in conflict, a person who's not experienced conflict can't help me. They're not going to help me through that, right? That was one of the biggest things when we did marriage prep. That was one of the worst things at the place where we did marriage preparation, because this couple had never really had major fights. They had never really had much. They were just like this super happy, contented, all around couple. And it like when we would go in there and be like, well, what do we do in this situation? Oh, well, we never had experience with that, blah, blah, blah. And we've just always been happy. And it's like, that's the worst person to learn from, especially when you're going through something hard. You know what I mean? So that's why it's not probably because I expect marriage to be a train wreck. And so
that's interesting. Yeah.
It's not that I want that, is that I kind of expect it. So maybe that's wrong on my part. But the point is, you want to learn from people who have the experience, who are in the position where you want to be. Now here, that can be a little bit dangerous, because some people be like, oh, I can tell you how to be wealthy. How's that? Well, you wait for your grandpa to die and you inherit a trust fund. Because that's how they got wealthy.
Yeah.
They're wealthy because they came from wealthy, parents. It's like, no, how do I build something to create wealth? Well, I just, and it's like, no, you can't teach me how to get there. So you have to learn from people who have gotten there, right? Or who are a little bit further down the same path, and then fall in love with the path. Fall in love. Well, don't get so enamored that you're like, I won't switch paths.
Sabotaging yourself.
Fall in love with the journey. That's a better way of putting it. Not fall in love with the path. Fall in love with the journey, the fact that you're moving in that direction. That's the thing to fall in love with. That's the thing to, like look to as, instead of looking at your results, look at where you're headed. Look at the path you're on. And does that path lead to the results you want? And if so, continue. Because we live in an age where everything is instantly in our grasp. Information, instantly. Microwave ovens would make food instantly almost, right? We live in this instant gratification thing. And growth into being a person you want to be takes time. And sometimes challenges and struggles. To be fit and to have a ripped bod or whatever, like that takes time and consistency. A lot of these things, man, I did not become a good drummer overnight. I did not start off as a good drummer. It took me years of constant, consistent practice to get good.
Which is a lifestyle.
Absolutely. So that's the thing to think about. And you can totally make changes to your lifestyle. If you're not ready yet, that's okay. But when you are, there's a path. And it is available to you. So anyway, that's what I got. Did you have anything else, Ryan?
We're half an hour over, but I do want to say one thing. In your heart, you probably need a little less acceptance and more love. I think that's kind of what the world generally needs, and we're all experiencing this because of the world's tirade of saying, we have to accept one another. Accepting one another has never been a virtue. Like, it's nice to some degree, but we need less acceptance and more love. And what I mean by that is you shouldn't accept some things about yourself. Some things are bad. They're unacceptable. Good. But you love yourself anyways. You shouldn't just accept everything, right? And be like, oh, well, I'm just, that kind of person that can never be that kind of person. I will just always be this way. I've just come to accept it. It's like that sounds like you settled for something rather than pursued something. So, and accept, and it applies for others as well. You don't have to accept everything that they do. You should love them, though, right? So, yeah, I just want to finish on that little note. Accept yourself less, accept others less, love yourself more, love others more. That'll kind of, hopefully, push you one extra little step in the right direction. I mean, I guess you kind of already in that direction, I should say. I guess it's another way to define this whole concept of what do I, what's the word? Shoot. I'm looking for the word in here. Anyways, it's a way to be hard on yourself without being mean to yourself, right? It's the right way to be hard on yourself and grow and recognize your flaws without beating yourself and doing unnecessary evils to yourself. Because love does not beget evil, right? Love conquers it. So I would say that's kind of maybe how you figure out like what is what is like, because earlier I was saying, being satisfied with yourself, being satisfied with self, being who you are, where you are, whatever. And I think that falls under the idea of not accepting yourself necessarily, but loving yourself. Loving yourself is a way higher bar than accepting yourself. So you can love yourself in that you're satisfied with being yourself. And in that love, say, this is wrong, that's wrong, I'm going to move it forward. But if if you're saying like I'm satisfied with myself in a way that you're accepting yourself, you could say this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong, but I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
I'm satisfied.
I am who
I don't need to improve that. I'm satisfied. So that's what I'm trying to say. Maybe that's a way to kind of guide your mentality about what do I accept, what do I not accept. Not that you need this. You're probably already fine on this, but if anyone's listening that felt like I needed to nail that down a little bit more, there you have it.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's okay to take care of yourself. It's okay to love yourself. It's okay to do these kinds of things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Those are okay, and you don't have to live up to some standard in order to love yourself.
Mm-hmm.
We play that trick on ourselves too.
Yeah,
you can still
you are perfectly lovable as you are,
and be okay, and also understand there's some things that I need to get better at or want to improve in. A lot of times the tasks aren't really that difficult. Yeah, most of the battle is up here.
Yeah, starting things is hardest most of the time.
Yep.
Yeah,
it's not hard to do, a half-hour workout 4 days a week. It takes scheduling and planning, and then discipline to stay on that. That's where things get tough. Discipline. But that's a whole nother topic that we could go into. But at any rate,
yeah. Hey, guys, thank you for this topic. This is great.
Thank you so much, Anonymous, and thank you guys so much for being here. Oh my gosh, it's great.
Yeah,
great to have you.
It's been lovely. You guys have been great.
Yep, the chat. I love you guys so much, and I'm so glad to be here with you. So glad to be able to share this time. We've got some interesting weeks coming up. Okay, I just want to give you guys a heads up. Now we'll give, so next week I will not be here. Ryan, if Ryan can find a co-host, then maybe Don't Worry Wednesday will continue. And then for the next 3 weeks after that, Ryan won't be here. I'm going to be trying to find co-hosts. So if anybody you guys want to be on Don't Worry Wednesday and feel like you might have something cool to say, hit me up in Discord. Yeah. Most of you probably know my Discord. Or, you can hit me up on YouTube probably too. With my channel.
And if you don't have it, you can send me a message and I can link you to Joe.
Yep. Yeah. And I'll be
putting
feelers out there too. So, but anyway, it was great. So next few weeks or the next month is going to be a little bit funky, but we're going to get through and it's going to be great. So,
yeah.
Anyway, thank you guys so much for being here. We're so happy. If you have a topic, you can go to don'tworrywednesday.com, click the submit a topic button, and fill out that deal, and then we will have your topic.
If you're on the edge of not knowing whether you really want to submit your topic or not, keep in mind we have now 0 topics to do lined up. So we're happy to take anything. And this now would be a great time to bring out your, I don't really know if this is a good topic or not. Hey, it's something.
Yeah.
Something more than nothing. So, yeah.
Say thank you so much. You have been great tonight.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. You in the chat.
Yeah, you have. Thank you so much.
You had so much good input. Thank you. Oh man. Thank you, Mianglios.
Thank you, Mianglios.
Great to see you.
You're amazing.
You guys are awesome. And till next time we see you. Yes, absolutely. Till next time we see you, take good care of yourselves and the people around you. And we love you guys. Don't hesitate to reach out. We'd love to hear from you. And we'll talk to you soon. You guys have a great night, and we'll see you next time on Don't Worry Wednesday. We love you guys.
Love you all. Bye now. Peace.